Welcome back to another video. It is your boy Miles, man, and look, we got Trailblazer right here. And guess what, man? I think we're gonna end up going with the Def Bont subs for this thing. So for the last video, man, I had a poll. Pretty much asked to drop comments, Def Bonts or Sundowns, and a lot of people already said, man, we got Sundowns in the Silverado. E-Series subs can definitely take those 5,000 watts, man. You guys would not believe the abuse I put on those things on a daily basis, man, and them things are still jamming. I recommend E-Series subs, Sundowns, man. 5Ks, man, it'll take it all day. Man, that's a good setup, man. That thing will beat. That's my personal opinion. If you guys want to put less, more power, that's all to y'all, man. But I think 5,000 watts for the E-Series Sundown subs is the way to go. Now for our OG truck, the Trailblazer Super Sport, I think we're going to go ahead and try the Def Bont subs just because it's another sub. And I would like to see what those subs sound like. I already know what kickers sound like. I already know what jail audio sound like. I already know what Sundown sounds like. We're going to try some Def Bont subs. So I think we're pretty much going to go with the Def Bont's Apocalypse TBSS 272 subwoofer, 12 inch. I love a 412 setup. And that's pretty much... I think the setup that we can go for the Trailblazer, I always think of surface area. I can do 2 15s, and I think that thing would bang. But figure 15 times 2, that's 30 inches of square area versus 412s. Well, ideally the 412s would be a little bit louder, but you know, I'm just always been a fan of 412s. I like, you know, somewhat people being like, dang, that's really only 412s. So I think we're going to go with that. These subs, they say RMS power, they can take 1,000 watts, max power 3,000 watts. But ideally, I would put the TerraAmps 12K, the MD 12K on that. But I think we're going to push the limits on those subs and end up going with the base series of the TerraAmps and put that 15K guy on it. Just, you know, to test the waters, how we did with the Sundown E-Series subs, to see how much power they can actually take. But then I have to make the ultimate decision whether I want to do a bandpass style box or a ported box, you know what I'm saying, but with my little twist on it if I do a ported box, because I just don't want to do a flat wall subs firing forward with a slot port. You know, that's not me at all. I would actually put the 412s in somewhat a tunnel and do a port right above them, because I want this thing to be like a wind machine. I want this thing to move some serious air. That's the whole purpose with this build. The other purpose was, the other sub was just to see if the subs could take it, and just to have like a little, like you know, a boomer, you know, boom box that we can go out and party and have fun with. But this is the guy that's gonna be moving the air and giving all the oohs and ahs. So I was saying, between the bandpass and the ported box, if a bandpass box is always going to require a lot more power for that thing to really, you know, get down. So ideally for that bandpass, if we do a bandpass, we put the 15K on it. If we were to do a ported box, the 12K would be a little bit better, because on ported boxes, since air is getting released through the port, the subs move a lot more, so it doesn't require that much power for those things to really jam. But either or, man, we'll see what happens. I'm gonna slowly start buying product and get everything, you know, quarterly, because this build's gonna take us quite a bit to build. It's a lot of stuff because I'm basically redoing the whole truck. So, you know, the whole thing with this is doing less but being a little bit more louder. You know, like, I'm not a 6-order type of guy. I feel that 6-order, it is loud and they do get very deep, but you know, in the vehicle. Outside the vehicle, I feel like they don't travel. You really have to get up close to it to really hear it, versus a bandpass. Of course, those travel like crazy, and a ported box, they do, you know, travel if they're built the right way. So we're gonna like twist it up a little bit, and I'll explain, if I do a ported box, how we're gonna build that guy. But before we actually get started on anywhere, man, I just want to go ahead and somewhat start figuring out airspace and design. So I'm going to actually take measurements of this box that's inside here, and the measurements on it, because obviously it went in and it's a 2-piece box, and I pretty much just want to get an idea how much airspace there's in here. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to get airspace from this guy. Okay, so let me go ahead and draw my little box thingy. So basically it's like this. So basically it's the back chamber, which is this one that we're actually sitting on, and then it has a front chamber that's probably half of the size of the back chamber. So let's go ahead and take some measurements. so now we actually have our measurements. So let's go on our iPad and see how much airspace we got. Man, I hate that little dot that's right there, man. We got a new lens coming in. Santa's gonna bring it in, and that's gonna avoid all that. Big key factor that's gonna go on with the new build in the Trailblazer with the Def Bond subs. So only the Silverado build had a few spots that it got double stacked up with wood, but this box we're actually gonna go ahead and triple stack it, triple baffle it. So instead of 7.5 for the thickness of the wood, it's actually gonna be 2.25 of the wood, man. That's how thick the baffles are gonna be, man. You know what I'm saying? So that's gonna play a very, very huge part on this build. We're gonna do the front chamber first to see how much airspace we got. So that was 45.75 because it was 3/4. The depth of it was 16, and the height of that box was 14.5. So you see the size difference between the front chamber and the rear chamber. The height on the front chamber is 14.5. The height on the rear chamber was 21 inches. So you see how that one worked. And now the thickness of the wood, 2.25. And let's see what it gives us. 2.7 cubes. 2.27 cubes. So that would be 2.7 cubes. Okay, so let's see how much is in the rear chamber. Or clear it. And remember, man, 12volt.com, you can figure out all your airspaces, man. It gives you a square, angle, more of an angle, circular, cylinder, too, whatever you want to call it. They have the port length calculator, slot port, how to wire the subs up. I use this website for everything, man. So very good website to use, the 12volt.com. So for the rear chamber, 45.75, height is 27, depth was 14.5, 10.5, thickness 2.25 equals 5.3. 5.37, and this one was like 4. So now let's add it up real quick. 5.37 plus 2.74. Wow, we got 8 cubes, guys. 8 cubes. Now, my specialty box on ported boxes, we would need at least 10 cubes of airspace, and then I think we need an extra like 1.1 for the port, because I try to do an 80 square inch port, probably like 25 inches deep, just so we can get them real low notes, because this box I wanted to get nasty low, like ridiculous low, moving air. Now with actually seeing how much airspace we got total, 8.1 cubic feet if we do the baffles at 2.25 baffles, which is a must, because when we're getting into the caliber of 15,000 watts and a little bit more heavier subs, man, we need the box structure to be pretty dead on. So I can actually get extra air spaces by building like pockets, cutting out windows and assembling and bringing them all together as one. Just cut out windows and maybe through the speaker cutout, get in there, join them together, seal tape them, and then screw them in place. That would be ideally, but we still gotta tweak out a couple things, because so we need at least the 10 cubic feet for the airspace. But then again, look, this is one of the ideas I had for the box designs. In my world, I would have built a box like this. If it's not straight, I'm sorry guys, but this is just a quick reference. So I would do a slot pour on top. Looks like an Among Us. And then we would do an opening. Hold on. In my world, I would build a chambered, I guess you want to say like a chambered, compressed chambered ported box. So I would do the slot port in the center, then do an angled in tunnel. Pretty much the subs would not be, directly facing at you. They would be more of an angle. And then, one far back and one, a little bit up on top. Just, so it doesn't have that front facing forward look. I'd feel that you would be able to hear less of the cone noise like that. And then we would do a real strong, aggressive center brace in this guy, so bass can reflect off that as well too. So if we were to try to do something like this, we would definitely have to squeeze way more than 8.11 cubic feet. We'd at least have to have at least like 15 cubes that we can play with, because this inner tunnel right here is going to take up a lot of airspace, guys, a lot. And of course we can just build your normal flat wall, subs, port in the center, and we can get our airspace easily like that. But I feel that you hear a lot of the cone, and it doesn't build no pressure. It's just like forcing bass out, forcing air. So, and I'm not with that. You know what I'm saying? I don't like that stuff. We need to give it a little bit, pizzazz on it. So at least it builds pressure, and that's our signature. We don't build flat walls. Another thing that we could do, where we can, build, the box, then do an angle. Do the slot port in the center, but like acting like a brace as well too, and then stack the subs but at an angle, but then build like a snorkel off of that guy just to compress the bass a little bit more, and then those low notes would be a little bit more higher. The snorkel would probably be like at least like 3 inches just to compress it, because then we'd have to tune it specifically so it could be a 6 order, and that's not what we want. I built a box like this in the past, and that thing quaked out, man. Like, that thing was serious. But I think the port was actually along the bottom, and it had like a slope on it, so it like brought up the port air coming in at an angle forward onto a dead end inside the box. The port velocity air just stayed trapped inside the box, versus when I put that slope on it, that angle, it like forced it out. So now that we know that we have at least like 8 cubes, maybe I can really squeeze like the 9 cubes, 10 cubes area. So we're gonna have to go rethink this setup a little bit more, the 412s. Maybe the 610s, who knows. So obviously 412s, the surface area is, what did we say, 48. Now the 610s, that's 60, so obviously that would be a little bit louder, and then we can still put that 10 or 12K in there. So we're gonna explore that option. I'm gonna see if I can buy that laptop this weekend and order the program this weekend as well too, so I can somewhat design it and show you guys how to use the Turn Pro program. I think it's like 250 bucks, man, but it's worth it. You'll be able to build some badass boxes, and we do build some boxes here and there. So obviously we will make our money back with that, building a few boxes. And man, drop down in the comments. I'm a 412 type of guy. I've never really actually had 610s. I did have 1210s at one point in one of my Blazers. But man, 610s, that would be pretty nasty. Drop down in the comments, let me know what you guys think, man. We started designing this thing, man. We're going forward. Def Fonts is definitely what we're going to use on this guy. Drop down in the comments, should we use Def Fonts mids? So it's just a full Def Fonts build versus the Terra amps, man. I can't turn my back on the Terra amps, man. Those things are badass. I do want to do PRV in that thing. So we'll see what happens, gang. So man, that's pretty much it for today. Man, I do got to put Christmas lights up. I got to build my son a action figure house. Man, we got so much stuff to do, man. Vlogmas, that's what it's called, I guess, during Christmas times. We still got plenty of content to do, man. The Trailblazer build is going to get done. Man, I'm waiting for my friend to drop me off the truck so I can finish building the consoles. Man, we got a lot to do, man. So little time, but it is Christmas season, so we got to put on a good spirit. With that being said, man, I hope you guys liked today's video. 610s, 412, 10K, 12K. Should we give away the 412, those 512s, $5 $10 buy-ins? That pays for shipping. Let me know in the comments. Until then, I'll catch you guys on the next one.